This is an Arctic Trucks AT38, or to you and me, the Top Gear Polar Hilux. Now this is super cool because when I was a kid in 2007, I was watching the Top Gear Series 9 finale where James May and Jeremy Clarkson drove this to magnetic north, the first car in the world to ever reach the North Pole, racing against Richard Hammond in the dog sled.
Hammond?
Yes, mate.
May. Bad luck.
That was it, really.
It is absolutely iconic, and it is in pretty much preserved condition here. They had some trouble starting it and getting it into the studio for me, but thank you so much to Toyota UK for letting me down to explore their heritage fleet and take a closer look at this one-to-one on my own in the studio. So the first thing that you might notice is the sheer scale of this thing as I step back towards the back of the car. Obviously, to actually step up into the car, I mean, yeah, I have to get up on this step here, and it really is quite the spectacle in person. It's got the rails on still, it's got all of the original bits on the interior, and I'm going to take you on a full tour of it. It's thanks to you guys that I get these awesome experiences checking out things that I love from my childhood and also exploring some weird and wonderful vehicles such as this truck here. So please like, comment, subscribe, it goes such a long way. Let's get into the tour. So of course this is based on a Hilux, which is known to be one of the world's most sturdy and durable trucks, this one being no exception, obviously with heavy modifications such as this much wider track, these massive wheels which you can see here, 38 inches in diameter, and these would have been deflated quite a bit for use on the snow. But also, one thing to bear in mind is that the car has an onboard compressor, so it could inflate or deflate the tyres at will. You can also see bits for what would have been a winch in there, and your front lights as well. There would have been some more mounted on top. But it is in still pretty good condition, to be fair, aside from a few scrapes that they may have had over the years, and this is still used at shows and so on. But this was also Top Gear's first high definition broadcast test, which is super interesting, and Arctic Trucks did a complete modification on this, raised and extended wheel arches, the cold weather prep, so it had heaters for fuel and coolant, plus also an improved air intake for sub-zero reliability, as well as heavy duty suspension and locking differentials with low gear ratio modification, so maximum traction with the low gears. Also extra tanks for fuel, which are underneath the car, and underbody protection with mounts, so winch mount, survival gear, and as you can see, some of that is still retained in the vehicle, including this rather extreme gun case on the side, made for holding a rifle, which is quite extreme, isn't it? But it's really cool to see. Unfortunately, the toilet seat that was mounted on the back is no longer present, which was a big funny addition when watching that Top Gear episode. But it's super cool to still see most of it in its original condition, and also the modification pretty extreme as well, right? But it does still have the standard Toyota 3-litre common rail diesel engine, the D4D, 171 horsepower and 360 newton meters of torque, which was plenty for what they were up to. And the tyres and the ride height is what made all the difference, wasn't it, really? But this thing, I can't even describe to you how big it looks in this studio as well. I mean, look how big the studio is, and yeah, it's just nuts, isn't it, really, the size of this thing. So total weight probably well over 2 tons, and obviously that's including, you've got air system, the compressed air system, the extra battery, power outlets, and so on and so forth. There was actually a second one made as well, so there was 2 identical cars, one being a backup car, and it was Top Gear's earlier episodes around the Hilux that convinced Toyota to partake in this, because they saw the durability, especially when they blew that one up off top of the building. It remains one of the most iconic vehicles from Top Gear's production period, and I think is probably one of the most important cars on the heritage fleet, aside from the Lexus LFA that's here as well. I mean, just look at this stuff. This is all very original. I can get into the back of the cab here, like put this down, and look, you've got like all the bits of equipment back here. This is still all on there. There's a dents on everything from how it was. This is a very heavy tail, really heavy. And just look at the ground clearance. If I get right down here onto the floor, it's crazy. I mean, think of the things they would have had to scale though. And of course, a lot of the stuff at the bottom has been reinforced for that purpose. And it's really interesting because if we actually head inside the car, you can see there's a lot of stuff in there from the production period. So they've still got, like, these obviously are ancient now, but these fluorescent lights they would have used for production. I've also been told they had to drive with the windows open because this car wasn't equipped with a sunroof. What would have caused an issue is if they were to go under the ice, they wouldn't have been able to escape, so they had to drive with a window open for safety reasons. But as you can see, the one on the other side is heavily tinted, which probably helped in certain conditions. But the seats themselves, pretty much standard. And then in the back, we have more equipment, which would have been at the time stuff like the sort of production crew put in their filming gear and stuff in there. And back there, you can also see the system for the comms, the radio, which is kind of visible in the front. So if we head back into the front of the vehicle, you can see there is the intercom radio here. So this is like an old-fashioned radio, but it was a normal auto box in here. And then obviously you've got your upgraded diffs. And then there's some switches down there you might be able to see. I'm going to come around the front, and obviously you've got all these lights as well. It's cool they've got the plate on there just to show what it really is when they take it out on shows and stuff. I'm going to open this doors on these side just to get a bit more light in because of these tinted windows, goes to show. But this side, generally unchanged. You can see they didn't do any weight saving here. They left the rear bench in, apart from that one that they're going to use there for storage. And then down here you've got switches for all of the auxiliary stuff, pump, heat, lights, fuel, and extra bits like that. So, and you've also got the compressor controls from the conversion as well.
Yes! Yes, sir!
And as you can see, there's loads of sort of gaffer tape and bits all over the car. So it's really cool that this is all still in original condition, and the fact that there's just all this gaffer tape all over it. You can see this kind of tint job that was done here. It's such a bizarre vehicle, but absolutely iconic and just huge, isn't it? They also, after this, on separate occasions, Toyota went to the South Pole in a Arctic Hilux and also up an active volcano. So this was kind of like the pioneer of what was possible in these kind of converted trucks with these massive tyres and big conversions and stuff like that. But how cool to see it in its original glory. And I'm going to get up and I'm going to sit in the same seat that they sat in when they were doing their expedition. But yeah, look, this is such a step up into the, it's ridiculous how high up this is, and I can't even imagine. It's very, very kind of, there's a lot of body roll. I can't even imagine how it is. This car is super low on battery, so I'm not going to actually fire it up, but you can see original steering wheel. Again, lots more mounting points for cameras and bits and bobs. Super interesting just to see how this was originally. I'm not quite sure what that is either. There may be a mount for a light or a camera up there that's been actually drilled into the side pillar. And you can see also there's been some cutting away of the dash there. I assume probably removal of the airbag system. And famously as well, there is a PlayStation 2 Slim built into the side here. So they had some entertainment. What is this? There's a disc in here actually. Rage. David Beckham Soccer. So David Beckham Soccer available on there. I don't know, there's also some other paperwork in here as well. What's this? This is oh, so this is like a kind of a little brochure for Arctic Trucks by the looks of it. 38-inch snow tyres. Tyres are able to run with pressures as low as 3 psi for better traction. Wheel arches were raised and extended. 3-litre engine modified to cope with very low temperatures, and heaters added to increase fuel and coolant temp with a 90-litre fuel tank. So just some notes about the spec of the Hilux there. So this is, I guess, their kind of promotional sheet that they would have put, which is super interesting. But yeah, how cool is that? That PlayStation 2 tucked away in there. You wouldn't know it's in there, would you? It's really awesome. And then of course you've got your diff locking controls and so on. Also some bits and bobs. It's really cool. The radio is still in here. Nothing stored away in there. But yeah, it's just really cool to see how they would have filmed. And obviously this sort of lighting is unacceptable in this modern age, isn't it? And like we'd all have LED stuff like we have in this studio. But yeah, it goes to show in 2007 they were really working with what they had in these extreme conditions. Let's pop the bonnet just so that you can see exactly what modifications have been made under there. And again, I need to jump out of this thing. So under here, pretty much a standard engine, but it has been modified for being able to heat up the liquids just so that it survives better. And you can see compressor over in that corner as well, and it's just had a new battery as well. So some modifications, but overall the engine itself is in pretty standard shape. So there we go guys, the Polar Hilux. It still fires up, it still works. It's just got a lot of accessory power, so quite often it doesn't start too well, which is why you've also got some easy start in here as well, which was obviously used for emergencies in some situations. But to see this car, I remember watching this on TV so vividly, and it's just amazing to see it preserved here in the Heritage Fleet in its kind of almost original condition, because yeah, what an iconic TV car it is. And yeah, I'm super pleased to have been able to actually spend some time with it in person. So there we go guys, the Arctic Polar Hilux. One of the most iconic TV cars in my opinion from that Top Gear special, and really made history. So very well done to the people who worked on this car. It must have been a really mean feat, especially to make two of them that were identical so they had a backup car. That is quite something, isn't it? So thank you again to Toyota, and thank you to you guys for watching. It really does mean the world, because your subscriptions, your comments, likes, all that good stuff, it means that I get opportunities like this to check out stuff that, you know, makes my internal child really giddy. You know, I was so excited watching this on TV, and to be here next to it, super cool experience. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.